friends, welcome back to another creative video. If you're new here, my name is Melanie. I thought it would be fun to spend the afternoon together illustrating my next coloring book. These are my current coloring books if you are new to me. 4 out of the 5 books are adult books, and I have one kids book, which is this one here, the alphabet book, which I made because I had a 3-year-old at the time of illustrating this one. So I mostly really enjoy making adult or teen coloring books. This was my very first book, The Magical Merfolk. It's the one I promote the least simply because it was my first, and I've come such a long way since illustrating this book several years ago. My next book was my whimsical woodland coloring book, which is my bestseller currently, probably because it is the one that I promoted the most and it's been around the longest after that mermaid book, but it was a lot of fun to illustrate. My absolute favorite book so far, though, is my cozy cottagecore book, which is this one here. I absolutely loved the theme of this book, and it just feels like walking into the most welcoming, warm, cozy space inside this book. Love this one, and if you don't have it, highly recommend grabbing this one. The next book that I created is Whimsical Witches, which is super fun for spooky season. This is my latest release that came out in October of 2024. I had a lot of fun creating a lot of magical illustrations for this one, and the launch for this one went super well. People have been really loving this one. So if you don't have this one, grab this one for spooky season this year. But for today, we are actually working on the final line art for my upcoming coloring book. This coloring book is super fun and super cute. It's different from my other books in that this one is going to be a square format, and it's going to be a little bit more of a simple or bold style, but still in my personal illustration style, which if you are not new to my books, you will definitely see that if you are able to pick up a copy of this book or download the copy when it comes out. I did just set my launch date, so it's official. This new coloring book will be releasing April 25th, 2025. So I'm recording this on April 1st, so that's just a couple weeks away at this point. It's very exciting. I can't wait to get this book into your hands. You're going to have a lot of fun with this one. I really loved illustrating this book. I felt so free and playful in this one, and I think that's going to come through to you guys. You're going to feel it when you start to color this book. I'm going to tell you the title right now, actually. It's called Charming Escape, and it really is like a cute, fun, playful escape. It gives you a space to just let your mind wander to fun, free places, which I feel like we all need right now. So this book has a lot of charming and cute little homes and hideaways and cottages in some unexpected places. It's going to be a lot of fun to color. It's got a couple of little characters hidden here and there, but mostly it's just a lot of really fun scenery to color, which is like a no pressure thing to color. And in keeping in my usual themes of celestial wonder, most of these images also have plenty of moonlight and starlight in them, so you'll be able to color lots of really cozy nighttime scenes. So if you're curious about my process for creating coloring books, I illustrate mostly for books on my iPad using the app Procreate. Before I ever even get to the point of drawing on my iPad for a coloring book, though, the first thing I do is I come up with an overall theme of the book, and it needs to be a theme that gets me so excited that I can easily come up with 30 to 40 ideas without thinking too terribly hard. So if I have a theme that's got me that excited, I know I can create a book out of it. So I will start by brainstorming all of these fun ideas and writing them down. Then I'll start doing a bit of image research or gathering my inspiration for images. So that could be anything from using Pinterest or Unsplash to my own personal images I've taken from my garden or traveling or walks outside. I love being able to use my own images that I've taken as reference. That just makes it even more personal for me. And then once I've kind of gotten that all down on paper as to my ideas and inspiration, then I actually begin the sketching stage. And that stage takes me, to be honest, a couple of months usually. It depends on how much time I truly have to dedicate to that phase, but typically for my last several books, it takes me probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4 months to sketch out my ideas. And I do all of that sketching on my iPad. However, I've never had the chance to go in full time on this. And so I'm sketching in the in-between moments, the moments where I have, 20 minutes here, 30 minutes here, an evening, because I was also working another job, my other business at the time of making those other books. This year, I've gone full time into my illustration business, so I have more dedicated time to work on my books and things during my working day, which is what today was and why we were able to sketch together this afternoon. However, that's not what my other books always looked like. I was sketching in the car while taking my daughter to her appointments, or sketching in the evening after she went to bed and my other work was done. So this year's really exciting. I'm hoping that we can just make this an amazing year, and people will start picking up more of my books, and I can start doing this more full time and putting out more books for you guys, more happy art. It's really exciting. It's a big change. It's also terrifying, but here is to thinking happy, positive thoughts and making my dreams of illustrating full time come true. So once all of those sketches are completed and I'm happy with the number of sketches I've created, so like I said, typically between 30 and 40, then I get to this stage, which is what you are doing with me today. We are doing the final black line art over the top of my sketches. So I'm creating those nice, clean, crisp, professional looking lines in Procreate on my iPad. And if anyone's interested in the more specific brush details, when I'm sketching, I use the 6B pencil with a couple of modifications that I've made inside the Brush Studio. And then when I do my final line art, I'm using a modified version, meaning I've put my own settings into the Brush Studio settings of the Studio Ink pen. I absolutely love the Studio Ink pen because it has variation in the line weight, so it has thick and thin capabilities depending on how much pressure I'm putting down with my pen. And I like having line art that has variance in, or a little bit of variation in the line weight. I feel like that looks more natural to how I would normally draw. Some people would prefer to make a coloring page with the monoline pen because that's very consistent all the way through from start to stop. It doesn't matter really about the pressure, but I love the change that the line weight can have with the Studio pen. So just to switch gears here for just a moment, I want to talk a little bit about how this artwork is made. And even though this is being done digitally on my iPad using the app Procreate, you are seeing that this artwork is still completely handmade. It's hand drawn. You're watching my hand make all of the line art, right? And I'm still making mistakes and I'm having to erase things away and redraw lines. I think there's a little bit of a misconception sometimes that digital art isn't being handmade, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Now, AI art, on the other hand, that's a whole other topic. This is not utilizing AI at all to make this book right here. My book is completely hand illustrated. You just watched me erase away a line and fix it by hand, right? And you're watching me draw these lines by hand. And I don't modify my brushes to the point where there's absolutely no wobble or mistake in my line art ever. You definitely will see the handmade effect in my work. You're going to see lines that aren't perfect and circles that aren't absolutely perfect. And I love that. I love that I can still put all of that humanness into my artwork, even though I am using a digital means to create these pages. I can't tell you how many times I've had someone be a little bit confused and make the statement of, oh, so it's not handmade then, if they hear I'm using an iPad to draw my artwork. And that is definitely not true. It's just a misunderstanding, I guess. And I'm trying to make it a little more clear, show you the face behind this work, show you my hand creating this work. There's a difference between this and AI created coloring books. My coloring books are not made with AI. All right, so anyway, enough of that chat. Let's get back to talking about my favorite part of this, and that is creating this line art. And that's because I go through probably 2 phases of sketching. The first will be a really, really rough, basically thumbnail to get my idea down onto paper or the screen so that I can get the idea out of my head and onto a physical space. And then I will come and refine the sketch with my 6B pencil still, and I will clean it up. And sometimes I can get this on that second go. Sometimes it takes a third sketch. So I'm lowering the opacity and then going over the top of it to put in some final details, refining the shapes and lines, and then I come back in on a final layer with the studio pen to create the actual line art. And if I've done a good job with that final sketch layer, this part of creating the line art becomes very meditative. I can just zone out and follow my sketch and create the beautiful line work. I really love this stage because it doesn't require really much decision making. I can just create the lines, and it allows me to put music on or a show or something and just, like I said, zone out. I love this stage. And even though I have that really clean sketch to guide me, if I've actually found like my flow state and I'm feeling really good, sometimes that sketch, even though I've worked really hard on it and it's a really good sketch, I can still modify the lines a final time and put even more flow into the artwork, or maybe details I wasn't thinking about beforehand. I don't know, you reach this stage of relaxed creativity where you can just really make the illustration shine. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you've made any coloring pages and you work the same way I do, maybe you understand what I'm trying to say. As I was coming up with the concepts for this coloring book, I kept asking myself, where's somewhere absolutely adorable I would want to live if this were some fantasy creative land? What would my home look like? What kinds of cute little features would my home have? Just fun little questions like that, just really being indulgent and letting my mind wander to some really adorable, cute, and sometimes bizarre places. So if you pick this book up when it releases, I want you to be thinking the same thing as you're coloring it. If I lived here, what would just make me so insanely happy? Like, what colors would just bring me so much joy to have surrounding me if I lived in this page? That's the mindset I want you to have. I want you to truly feel like you are just taking this insanely whimsical little escape and coloring your dreams. Alright, so we have moved over to the other side of my studio now so that I can sit in the sunlight. We're at that time of the year here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan where seeing the sun is such a treat and we are starved for that sunshine. So when I saw it pouring in through the window, I was like, I am sitting in that right now. So I pulled my chair over there and sat in that warmth and let it recharge my battery. So this is the side of my studio where I tend to do order packing. I don't normally draw over here, but after doing this like this, I'm going to do this more often for sure. Like, this is the time of day, this is mid-afternoon when the sun comes in through this window, and it was feeling so good. So I expect to sit over here and draw quite a bit more often this year when time allows. I thought it might be kind of fun for you to see the sketch to line art in its entirety. So these two time lapses you're seeing right now, this is the first and another one will pop up in a second, are showing you from my sketch to my line art. The sketch takes me the longest amount of time, especially on something like this kind of storybook scene that I have here. Drawing these books took me forever to figure out. But you're seeing me kind of go through a couple different ideations, like where do I want things, what do I want it to look like, what shapes do I want to use, and this is the part that just takes me a long time to play and figure that out. And then the line art is super fast, but I thought you might like seeing these time lapses. I think they're always so fun and interesting to watch. I love that feature on Procreate, that it allows you to go back in time and see you create your artwork from start to finish. The other feature I really love is that Procreate is able to track the amount of time I put into creating these artworks. Not the amount of time I spent like planning or thinking about them, but the amount of time I spent actually drawing. And so I'm able to kind of look back and see how long I spent on these pieces. So this was one of the most complicated ones, this book stack with the house on top. For me, I should say, it was one of the most complicated for me to draw. And this one took me about 2 hours to do from start to finish in Procreate. That's, again, not counting the planning time and the just coming up with the idea. So I looked back at all of my pages and they were ranging between 1 and 2 hours to create each page. And then you tack on the amount of time that you're spending thinking, planning, all of that as well. And that adds up to the amount of time it takes for me to create an entire book. So I think in total this afternoon, I was able to complete the line art for, I think, 4 pages, which felt really good to be able to turn out that much artwork in an afternoon. Normally it would take me a lot longer, but with this slightly simplified style, I was able to get quite a bit more done this day, and that felt really good. So this book, like I mentioned in the start of this video, is done. It is set to launch April 25th. There's just a few things I still need to get done on like the administrative side, and I need to get copies ordered and into my studio so that I can ship them out on launch day. You'll be able to get this book in a variety of ways. If you want a copy that is signed by me and includes a couple of fun freebies and extras, you'll need to buy that through either my website directly or my Etsy shop. Etsy is great if you are an international friend of mine. So that's where you can get a printed and signed copy. If you want a digital download so that you can print it out yourself on your own special paper, or maybe you want to color it digitally on your iPad, you can get a digital download of the entire book from both my website or my Etsy shop as well. And finally, if you just want the most affordable and fastest printed option, you can get this book on Amazon. However, if you're looking to support me in the best way possible, I would ask that you please go through either my website or my Etsy shop. So that's my spiel on how you can get your copy of the book. I'm super excited to get this one out to you guys. Like I said, it is just been so fun to create, and I can't wait to do a ton of color alongs with you guys. So when this book launches, I'm definitely going to have a ton of color alongs go up on my channel. And when you get your copy, if there is a certain page you would love for us to do together, send me a message. You can email me through my Owl Post newsletter club email. You could send me a message here on YouTube. You can send me a message on Instagram. Wherever you want to reach out is great with me. And I will put that in the lineup of pages for us to color together. I hope you enjoyed drawing with me today, and I hope you also enjoyed getting this peek into my process, getting to kind of see behind the scenes of how I illustrate my coloring books with a lot of love and intention. I also hope you're excited to get your hands on a copy of this book. If you want all of the information about this book as soon as possible when things are happening in real time, make sure you sign up for my Owl Post newsletter club. I send you emails probably 2 to 3 times a month, if like at best. Okay, I'm not on top of my game when it comes to emails as much as I should be, but they're just casual, fun updates from me, and usually you get some sort of treat or freebie from me too. But I will be letting the people in that club know about all things coloring book releases and whatnot first, and then it trickles down to my other social media accounts and whatnot. So get on that list if you'd like to know right away and get even some little discounts and freebies. So one last time, this book is coming out April 25th. I cannot wait to get it to you guys. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please give me a like or thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if you want to leave a comment, let me know below what your favorite art supply is. I am super curious to know that. All right, until next time, guys, thanks so much for being here, and happy art making.